Hello everyone, Vicki Achard here with Nature's Best Art. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to be showing you 6 beautiful Valentine cards I made out of these backgrounds that I showed you in last week's video when I painted only in one paper. I took a Strathmore watercolor paper, 140-pound cold press, just one, and then I made the hearts. If you haven't seen that video, go back. That's part one of the part two series, okay? All right, but let's talk about a little bit about what materials I used, and then I'm going to show you each Valentine card because they're very, very special, I think. I'm so excited about it. It turned out really well, I think. I love using these Valentine papers this year. They've been sitting in my drawer, and I think they're so special. They're made from recollections and different various papers, some in red, lots of pinks here. Just think they're so, so special. So that's what I used also. And I'll show you actually all the other materials I used as we talk about each one. This one I think turned out artistic. You know, this was one of the smaller papers. And what I loved using this year is from my friend. She sent them, and they're called not just, but JUSART art outline markers, they're called. And they turned out so well with my cards this year. I was so excited. And here they are here. I used on this one, I used the red. Because what it is, and I don't know if you could see that, it's like an outlining of red, and then it turns out silver. That's why they call them outline markers. It outlines like the red part here, and I'll show you. Let me see if I can demonstrate that for you. What I did was, let me get a couple papers here. Let's see, where's my papers that I was going to use to show you? Oh, here they are here. I have stuff all over my desk from making these, but I had so much fun. Something like this is what I'm talking about. You get a few papers, and these you have to shake them and then activate them like that. That's how you do it. And so what you do is you take, what I did was, let me see if I could take, like maybe this one I'll use. This is going to be papers I'm going to use for my next Valentine's. I'm going to make a few for my grandchildren. What I did, sometimes I outline like on top of that little paper or just the sides. And so if I want to do the sides, I just take this pen or the marker here, and I always put a few papers down because this does go through. So I wanted to do that. But what I did was I just held it. Let me see if it works on this. Oh, it's bleeding through. Didn't mean to do that. That's interesting. It didn't do that on my, but see, on my watercolor paper. And you know what I did? It was activated, and I activated it more. So that's probably why I did that. I'll have to make sure that, you know, I don't allow too much to go out. Let me see. Let me do this once more again. So that's something that hasn't happened. Let me see here. I don't want to mess this, because I can cover that. That's no problem. Let me see if this is going to do this again. Yeah, it's doing it again. That is interesting. There's just too much going down here. Let me try it on this just to do this. This is my pink one. And let me try it. I don't want to get this because I can use this. I have ways of covering things up. See how it goes through? Okay. And this dries within like 5 minutes. It's just wonderful. I just love it. So I am not worried about these marks at all. I'm going to cover that up if I want to use it. But I'm just curious. Okay, I'm not going to activate it because these have been activated. I want to see if this does it again. And this is a lighter paper than my watercolor paper. So let me see if this is going to do this again. No, see? Okay. It didn't do it. It didn't do it. it lined it up, but it didn't make this messy mark here. It's just I activated it and I shouldn't have. That is interesting. Let me just see if I can get this out a little bit. Just if you think there's a lot on there, let me do this one more time again here with this one. Okay, that's what it was. It didn't make those marks here. It didn't bleed out, is what I'm going to call it. That is interesting. So I mean, it's a lighter paper. It's bled here also a little bit, but I can cover that up. I am not concerned about that at all. Anyway, but that's how you do it on the sides. Now, if I wanted to do it on the paper, it was a little harder because it's harder to. Let me show you this. How I'm going to do this. As long as we're using this paper, I'm going to use this. I went on top of the paper. It's going to be interesting to see if it bleeds on this paper because, like I say, the watercolor paper is heavier. But anyway, I want to show you on top. See, it's harder to make a straighter line, right, on top of a paper. But I did it like that. See, it is possible to do it right on top of the paper. Now this one I did a little thicker because I tell you what happened. When it's hard, to make a straight line on a paper. But so what had happened was maybe you can't tell, but maybe like out here I went a little further out. So I just widened it is all I did. And then the hearts, I outlined my hearts that I painted, and I put this little silver thing on the heart. And with these kind of papers, the silver, I had a silver one and this one. There's my silver paper there, and I made that heart, and I just absolutely love this. Okay, and then so this is interesting. I'm glad this happened, so I know not to shake it up so much, and it does work well, I think. Where's my tops? Here's my pink one. This almost looks kind of pink, but it's red, actually. It's interesting. These are so interesting to me. And I love them because it dries in like 5 minutes. And then, you can put your other embellishments on it. But, so that was an interesting experiment. So anyway, all right, now, moving along, I'd like to talk about my next Valentine card, which was this one. And I used the same kind of thing, and I went on top of my paper. This is my one that I painted last week. And then what I did was I used my stamp, not my stamp, my punch, and I punched a piece of paper, pink paper, used my stamp, Happy Valentine's Day, and what I did is use my memento. I showed you this last week, my lilac posies, and I also, on some of these, you'll see that I used my new Stampin' Pad Cherry Cobbler. I got this year. It was hard to open, but I'm working on it. I'm figuring it out how to open these pads. They're real different from just like opening like this. You just take the top off. This one's a little harder. I'm not going to open it now, but you pull it up, and then you push it back. It's just, I never had a Stampin' Up pad. It's different. So anyway, got used to that. But so then I made like a belly band here with my silver paper. And then this was a little stamp that I had last year, and I had papers in my Valentine drawer, and I used that. Oh, and I used this here, this one, the black one. See, I started to use the black because it just looked like it needed black to me somewhere. So this is one of the papers from the pads I just showed you, and then this is the black marker that I used, and it worked well. This is the kind of paper that this was here, that I showed you, but it worked well on this, and I just went around like that and made a scallop. I think it looks so pretty. I just love it. I do have pink paper, and I have red paper, and it's from Recollections. It's 65 pound. Okay, that's another one, and then this one. Now this is the one that I put just on the sides like that, like I showed you with these wonderful outline markers. And then I didn't outline these hearts here. I just think that's such a cool look, the watercolor that I did last week. And then I used my stamp here, sending hugs. I thought that looked really cute. And this is a paper that I really love. It's like little plastic or something, but it's so pretty, I think. So that was one of the cards I made. And then the next one, I made a belly band again. Put it on, this was the one that was bigger. And made this scallop around this again. I like that. And then I have those papers also that have these little hearts on them, like that. And I just cut them out. And so I used two of them here, and I put a ribbon on there. I like this one. And all my cards, I use my ATG gun. I've showed you these before. This is the one that has the very smallest tape on it. It's about 1/4 of an inch. My husband made this thing where generally what they have in these ATG guns is tape and a dispenser here like that for like about 1 inch tape. I have a little picture on here that shows me how to put it in. That's how I remember to put it in. But I've done it a number of times. I can do it. And it's falling apart, but this is my real workhorse. I love the ATG guns. But then I wanted one to sometimes put a little smaller type tape on it. And so I got that. And then my husband made this wooden thing so that, see, because it usually, like I showed you, it fits the inch one. But he just put this wooden thing in here and then this little thing on top. And it works wonderful. Works just wonderful. So if you run into that, if you want a smaller, inch, like 1/4 of an inch, almost it is, I think. And then I had to get another gun. I call it a gun. And he did that. He put that in there for me. So that was really handy because like this kind of thing here, I just wanted a very, very small tape. I don't want a whole big inch tape kind of showing through there. You can't hardly see it, but I just wanted a little bit of that, and that's really good for that type of thing. So now, then my other one here, I just love this one too. I put the paper in back, that plastic kind of type paper that I have, and I put lines around my Happy Valentines because that's what this had. So anytime I create, I try to harmonize my papers and my colors, and I thought that was really nice. So that's that one, and I just, like I say, love, 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 love my hearts. First year I did that, and then I went with my marker around the watercolor paper, and it worked really well. Okay, and then here's my last one. I put a bow on there, and I wanted to put this paper on the side. And I thought my hearts looked really pretty. Now the colors, remember the colors I used for the paint. These are M-Gram paints. I used permanent alizarin crimson. Some of them are for that. Some of them are the pyro red, which is this one. And some of them are Kodachrome rose, which is this light pink. And then I put, I use permanent alizarin crimson and diaxiom purple on this, but what I would do, because it kind of is a little bit muddy for me, I would go more mauve and permanent alizarin crimson. I talked about that last week. And then I put that little heart, I cut that out of this paper because I thought that matched really well. And I used my stamp. Now, I'm going to talk about at the end of the video if you want to, well, actually, I just want to show you a few papers, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about what you can do when you mail your cards if they're too thick, okay? So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So these are going to be, let's talk about that now, because, well, let's see. Why don't we wait? Okay, we're going to wait till the end of the video because maybe some of you won't want to hear about that. I think it's important when you mail your cards to know, to make sure that, you know, they're not too thick or whatever. I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video. But I do want to show you, I have more cards to show you, and they're these cards here. Now, these are the cards that I also painted, and you didn't see me paint this background, but this background I painted it all. They all look lighter, and that's because on these kind of cards, I painted. Remember last week's video? I painted pink first, and then I painted on my hearts. Okay, on my pink paper, but these cards were painted on white paper. I didn't, first of all, make that one color. And these are, I just want to show you the difference. So these are the cards that I made out of my pink paper, okay? Now, this is this one here that I made. I thought it turned out lovely. I have a bow here, and how I did that bow is I cut a slit there, and then because I didn't want people to see my slit in the inner part of the card, I made this part of the card here, and I covered that part. So a lot of it when you craft is, you know, you keep crafting until like you cover up things like this card that I am going to use this, and I'm going to cover things up so you won't see that. I'm going to fix it up. It's not going to be any big deal to me because that's what I actually do a lot is I make things and I shift things around, I add things to cover things up, but I thought this turned out really pretty. Okay, and the next one is this one, and I used a lot of my stamps on this one and outlining with my marker, and I used a sticker. I showed you that last week, excuse me, the backs of these, and I just want to show you how they did turn out as cards. This is this one. And this one, I put a little tool on here, I call it, this stuff here. I have this stuff in my craft room. I thought that looked really pretty. And the stamps. And this is that paper that I showed you last week. And all these papers. But that turned out real pretty. This one is, I actually painted inside these little hearts I made. This is my background, and I put these papers here. Now what happened here is that when I put two of these papers together, it didn't come together, these two papers here. So then I just used this paper to make that, to put it there, and it looks lovely, I think. It has hearts on it. I love that. Excuse me. And I love this because it's just so simple, and I just love it. I have these little dots on here. I just wanted to show you how these cards turned out using the part of the card that I had to cut to make cards out of those. So now, if you don't want to listen to this part, that's fine. But I do want to talk about this. So if I took my one card that I showed you that had the ribbon, and actually I do have another card like that I know I'm going to have to do this. What I usually do is I put it in my envelope, and then I put it through my, it's called a template from the post office, to see if it would actually fit. If it doesn't fit, and I tried it this morning, I put it in my envelope and I put it through my template, it doesn't fit. So that means I'm going to have to use, okay, a stamp is 78 cents. So that means I'm gonna have to put another 49-cent stamp on there. So you don't have to put two 78 stamps on one if you get a little thick with your embellishments. There are stamps that cost 49 cents, uh, and so it's going to cost me $1.27 instead of 78 cents to mail this one and this one. But I don't mind. I don't mind at all. But this is a template I got from the post office that is really handy for that. And I'll tell you another thing. If you have some of you probably make square cards. If you make square cards, just put it in your envelope. That is your 5x7 greeting card. Just put your square card in here. That way you don't have to buy another 49-cent stamp, because if you have a square card, they charge you 78 cents and another 49 cents to send a square card. I believe that's right. But just put it in this envelope. Okay. So those are the cards that I wanted to show you. I'm so excited. And you know what? I gotta get off the YouTube so that I can mail my cards, because it's already the 10th of February and I need to mail all my cards today. Today I gotta mail these beautiful cards. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, really. I think they turned out lovely, and I'm just thrilled that I can mail them, and I gotta get them in the post office. So everyone, have a wonderful Valentine's Day, and I hope I gave you some ideas, some tips, some ideas for your Valentine's too, your Valentine's cards. Okay, thank you for joining me. See you next time. Bye for now.